I come to bring you life. I come to bring you peace. Here I wait for you to come to me. Come to me. Come to me.
Eucharistic adoration springs forth from the very words Christ spoke at the Last Supper. This is my body. This is my blood. No longer merely baked wheat and fermented grapes, the bread and wine consecrated at Mass are the actual living presence of Jesus, the Son of God. The real presence has been recognized since the time of the apostles, but the practice of adoration, that is, worshiping God in the consecrated Eucharist, may have begun in the 5th century or earlier.
I think if I had to sum up the biblical basis for Eucharistic adoration, I would cite the words of Christ at the resurrection when he commissions the disciples to go into all nations and promises them that he would be with them to the end of the age. The real root of Eucharistic adoration is just quiet devotion and love for the fact that Christ longed to be with us so much. He longs to hear our prayers, to hear our cries, to be present to us in every moment of our lives.
People that come some will tell you, oh, it's so wonderful to just set that hour. It's so peaceful and quiet and serene, and just feel the love of God over you. It's just a wonderful feeling that they have.
It's just given me so much faith in people and in humankind and in God. You know, I just can't live without that, and knowing that we have a place to go to be with Jesus.
Sometimes I'll go in there and I'll read the Bible, I'll read the Bible and just meditate on it, or sometimes I'll just go in there with a stressful day and just not even open a book and just kind of tell God all my problems. I mean, so many times we're moving, we're doing certain things, and we don't realize that Christ should be the center of our life, and that's what I'm doing when I'm in there. I'm making Christ the center of my life.
I was willing to commit my responsibilities and my time to being on CYO board. And I wasn't really, I mean, that was just a side obligation of being on the CYO board. So I showed up for my first hour, and I was really kind of bummed about it, and I actually had like my homework with me, I had a paper to write. And so I wasn't really like banking on anything special. But in the end, I didn't even touch that stuff. And just being in a silent hour was something I had like never done before, ever. And it was a crazy experience. And it probably took me a couple of times to really get into a prayerful mode with it, but I was so appreciative at the end of the first hour just to have sat in silence for an hour. It was something like beyond my comprehension, you know, rather than watching TV or doing something at home. I had just kind of like gone there and been like, wow, I feel better about myself and my life than I ever have before, just being so comfortable and set in what I believe. And I think if everyone had the opportunity to foster that growth like I've been able to through adoration, it would make all the difference for those people, just like it does for me.
I assumed that it was only at retreats that you could do adoration, and I remember going and it hit me that the same Jesus that's in the Eucharist at Mass, the same Jesus that was in the monstrance at the huge retreat that was very emotional, is the same Jesus that's in every adoration chapel. I guess it kind of like hit me by, like, I call it a holy 2x4, just like slaps you upside your head, and you finally realize it, and you just get to have that deep prayer time, and you just get to sit there and just talk to him about whatever it is and just lean your head up against his heart.
I feel very holy when I go to the chapel, and I bet you will feel holy too. I go with my dad, and we only stay for 10 or 15 minutes. And if you look at the middle of the cross in the chapel, you will see a host. And Jesus is in every bit of that host. And you can invite your parents too, and soon your whole family will have the love of God in them. See you at the chapel.